it's Corvette. So yeah, very much a big presence still.
We're seeing a number of different styles and a number of different ways to get into the drift. Notice that
they say it's like dancing with cars. Drifting has this. They call it the figure skating of driving. Do you know what I mean? Because you are essentially trying to get the car to float and dance, but there's just a lot to make the cars do that.
Right. The two Falken BMW. I think they're both BMWs under there. They are
E39 M5.
That's lovely.
Yeah, that's a U car. Do you know? I'm thinking
that is absolutely up my Strasse. That car, I remember that car. I could never afford one back in the day. Can you make a drift car out of any body style? I mean, a lot of these drivers are part of teams. There are constructors who specialise in this, and obviously you have to have the safety equipment, so there's a roll cage in there, the suspension, quite a lot of the suspension will be bespoke. There's some cars just inherently better than others. Length between the wheels, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, technically, you could make any car into a drift car. But however, first of all, you need to look at the weight proportions. You obviously want a weight bias, lighter at the rear, heavier. Sun Sylvia has been so popular as a drift car. They just drift better. They're just set up. They're just engineered better. The Japanese had
even before you start specifically tuning them for drifting. So even as a street car, and let's not forget, like most great forms of motorsport, whether it's endurance racing, which was originally point-to-point from towns when the motor car first came out, drag racing started on the streets, and those of you who live around my neck of the woods, down at Santa Port, it's their big weekend coming up with first the FIA meetings there.
It's the main event this weekend, actually.
Yeah, this weekend. Is that this weekend?
Yeah, my friend Annie Wallace.
How did it get across to Europe, and how did it get to be competitive and basically spread across the world?
So obviously, yes, as you're saying, drifting started in Japan. It started on the Togo roads that you talk about outside Mount Fuji. Lots of drivers became kind of...
of course, formerly a Boyzone, was a big competitor. We had him at the racing car show at Birmingham and the indoor arena a few times. We had him on a couple of Top Gear live shows that I worked on and presented with Tiffany Dell as well. Precision driving as well as sideways driving. Beautiful stuff from the two end of the car is.
Yeah.
But the back end of the car, when you're trying to get those big slides close to walls and things like that, or when you're trying to get very close to each other. Now this is a nice touch. We've got some coloured smoke coming out.
Oh, look, yeah, so absolutely.
This is very cleverly done from the Paul Steenhuis, who's the Netherlands driver in the BMW, the little stubby, the BMW Compact.
He's in the Compact, which is the 4-litre V8, which is actually this engine, I think is the S62 engine, which I think was, I can't even remember off the top of my head, but it's another 4-litre V8 from BMW.
That smoke is coming from the rubber on the tyres?
Correct, yes. So these are the colour shred tyres, which they have I'm not sure, it must be like a dye or something in the tyres. So as soon as they start shredding, they emit this wonderful cloud of smoke. I always think they look like gender reveals. Is that real?
I was thinking,
red, pink for a girl.
We've had single runs, we've had lead and follow. Now we're going for a triple. You would not see this in competition.
No.
This is just for the show, and the three of the Falken Tyres cars are out there together in a triple full spin. Lovely stuff. Habits that we are taught, whether we've been driving on the road, certainly if we've been track driving. To a certain extent, it's driving for effect, but you still have to be under control. So it's a new set of control skills that you are learning.
100%. A lot of the thing, I would say, I'm going to speak personally from my own experience. When I first started drifting, one of the hardest things that I had to think was predicting the weight transfer. So when you launch the car in and get on the handbrake, what goes left must come right. So it's then being able to... I found difficult was just the timing of everything.
So are you more likely to just overcook it and spin it? So, okay, let's assume we're doing a drift school now, and you put me in the car.
You're going to be cutting up a brand new chassis, which is going to be quite pricey.
Right.
But second of all, it's a well-known, tuned and tested chassis, which has lots of off-the-shelf parts that you can find, and a lot of knowledge as well. Whereas when you have a new chassis.
The New Zealand scene in particular, I know a couple of guys from Heart of Racing, Aston Martin team, were down there.
Have you seen that they've put a Aston Martin Vantage on the track in FD? Sorry sorry, yeah, it's Heart Racing.
Yeah, Heart Racing. They support the Seattle Children's Heart Foundation, the Seattle Children's Hospital.
That's amazing. You know, I think it's absolutely brilliant. They've literally just taken the rule book and ripped it up. Who takes a brand new Aston Martin Vantage with the V12 in it as well? And you just
been away just before lockdown, and when COVID hit, they got stuck on the other side of the world, and they couldn't come back to the States. When we went back racing in the States, the rest of the team carried on racing in 2020, but they still couldn't get back. So instead of just sitting around and having a holiday like I would have done, they found out where the motorsport was in New Zealand, including making friends with the drift guys down there. And that's how they got involved in drift. And they won a national championship in motor racing, and they raised a whole load of money for children's for paediatric cardiac.
I love that.
Down there, and that's, so, you know, something good came out of those guys being stuck down there.
He is doing like a lovely little rolling burnout for the people there. Hand out the window, waving. Everybody loves a burnout.